Hello, and thank you for having me here today. My name is Nyla, and I'm a postdoctoral researcher in the labs of Dr. Stephanie Blaine-Morais and Dr. Aliki Thomas. And I'm here to present on my arts-based knowledge translation project on dementia and Parkinson's disease. So using the performing arts to bring together lived experience and scientific research. I did my PhD not so long ago on Parkinson's disease. This is the second most common neurodegenerative disease following Alzheimer's. And during my studies, I started almost every presentation off with this iconic image of the first clinical description of Parkinson's disease and the motor impairments it causes. But in reality, I was very far removed from humans. In fact, I spent most of my time peering down a microscope at the inner universe of the brain, all of the complexities in the constellations of neurons, how they communicate, and how this is altered by Parkinson's disease. And so I had a lot of information at a very small scale, but little perspective of the lived experience of this disease. My PhD did more than produce pretty images. I also created some very complex diagrams. This one is an oversimplification of what happens in the communication between two neurons. And I'm sure it may not be accessible to some of you in this audience, let alone to a lay public or a non-academic audience. This is where I think the performing arts comes in. So I'm very inspired by other arts-based health research, such as this play on the experience of dementia, a dance performance on the experience of psychosis, and even circus has been used to communicate, in this case, the experience of epilepsy. But beyond communicating the emotional aspects of illness, I also believe that the performing arts can provide a window into scientific research. While we might not be able to explain scientific data fully through the arts, we can at least pique the curiosity of the audience and hopefully have them engage in scientific research more afterwards. So that is the goal of my project. Firstly, in co-creating the performances, we hope to facilitate knowledge exchange as well as empathy between the lived experience and scientific research. And in the multidisciplinary performances, we hope to engage a wide audience, both on an emotional level as well as an intellectual level. To do this, we bring together the neurodegenerative disease community, the performing arts community, and the neuroscience research community to form a core team for each project of around 20 people. Of course, we also have many collaborators and advisors, and of course, an audience or target audiences. So we started back in October by pairing the researchers and the artists together to create small art science videos that communicate aspects of research on Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and dementia using dance, music, theater, and even some circus. And so this was used to communicate scientific research to our community participants, with whom we met over Zoom over around a 2-month period. And these Zoom sessions were facilitated by 2 dancers. In this case, this is Rebecca Barnstaple in the Parkinson's group. And we used music and movement to facilitate knowledge exchange, to share our experiences, and simply to be silly and get together over Zoom. So based on this, we identified 3 themes that we would like to communicate or explore more in our performances. For the Parkinson's project, this was moving past motor limitations, the invisible aspects of Parkinson's, and the rhythm of life and perception of time. So for the first theme, we're looking at ways to represent the different motor difficulties that come with Parkinson's disease without parodying them. And we're also exploring ways in which people adapt to these motor difficulties and how it changes the way that they go through their lives. And this illustration is from one of our participants. In the second theme, the invisible aspects of Parkinson's, we're working with a poem from another participant who describes her experience as walking on a tightrope. So we're really digging into the chaos that is both on an emotional level, but also the chaos that happens in the brain, in the circuitry affected. And for the rhythm and perception of time, we've been working with one of the participants who has been meeting with our musicians on a weekly basis, and she conducts them based on her perception of time and how this fluctuates with her medication or with other aspects of Parkinson's disease. Moving on to the dementia project, we also have 3 themes. The first is shifting relationships. The second is things lost and things gained. And the third is living well with dementia. So that entails addressing the stigma of dementia and Alzheimer's, but also the importance of community support and how one can adapt to dementia. So in our first theme, shifting relationships, we've been working with this acrobatic duo, and they've been working on creating a piece that explores the changes in giving and receiving support between a married or romantic couple. So this is based directly on the experiences of some of our participants. For the second theme, we've been discussing memory loss, and that will be a part of our performance, but also the new emergent aspects of personality or different ways that we can engage with people with dementia using creative activities. And this piece was created by a musician who has personal experience in her family. And lastly, this is an image from a support group that we work with. And this is just a message to say that throughout our performance, we'll be integrating messages about living well with dementia, the importance of community support. And this is both from a scientific angle as well as a lived experience angle. So on that note, after the performances are done, I will be analyzing the data of whether the creative process increased empathy and knowledge exchange between the participants, and whether our performances increased meaningful dialogue as well as engagement in research. And save the date, our virtual performance will be in mid-July. With that, I would like to thank you, and I would especially like to thank my labs as well as the full Peace of Mind team, all of the wonderful participants in this project. You can follow us on social media or email us directly. And of course, I'd like to thank our sponsors and collaborators.